Good morning. Um, I'm Mackenzie. That's Bree. This is Read
Hi.
Between the Blue Lines. I'm tired.
I think we're both very tired. Sports did not, they weren't very kind to us in timing wise. The last,
This weekend was so bad.
yes, I was gonna say 3 days is
Yeah,
not fun.
no. And then my sleep
But
schedule was so fucked up for last night that I didn't sleep until like 5 o'clock in the
that's
morning.
what I'm saying. Oh my God.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
We're okay. We're okay. Kind of.
I should have just pulled
Yeah.
an all-nighter, but like I don't have caffeine in my house right now. Like I don't have an energy drink. I need to like go leave my house and go get one after this.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah,
The tiredness part at least.
hopefully.
You would think. Maybe.
Um, What's going on with Luke and the
Is
Devils?
Palladium retiring soon?
What book is that?
Did you see the new Kraken jersey?
Three-peat?
Was that the goal of the year?
16 million?
Who's gonna win the Norris
The Isles are
Trophy?
having fun again?
Did you read the new Elsie Silver novel?
Will the Sabres ever make the
Did anyone
playoffs?
beat Ovi's
Give
record?
me a new book rep.
Who got traded?
Will Matthews bounce
Did
back?
Tampa get back on top?
This is Read Between the Blue Lines,
A hockey podcast.
where our brains are filled with endless stat lines
Rosters.
and a list of books to read,
Tune in every Monday for a deep dive in the game we love.
and the books we can't shut up about. Do you want to talk about what the fuck is going on in F1? And like,
Um, what really isn't going on in F1?
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess. Well, there's like a lot of things happening all across the board. Um, First and foremost, I guess if you're like completely new, I'm so sorry this is the first season you're watching because it is like not going to be the best one, I feel like. But we've had two races. Australia was last weekend. This past weekend was China. Um, Basically to sum it all up, it's like unfortunately, if you're a Mercedes fan, it's probably a Mercedes year. George Russell won Australia. Kimi Antonelli won China. I keep on saying Japan. Japan is next. Which is I was so excited and I was very happy for him. He's like the youngest person in the grid. He's only 19, which is crazy. Um, but yeah, moral of the story is that the cars just don't work, despite the fact that they've kind of tested them. They have a bunch of new regulations coming into the season. So last year's cars, like everything they've been driving for the last like 10 years or whatever, has been like thrown out the window because they're not the cars are driving anymore. Um, if you are familiar with other racing series, the cars are kind of similar now to how IndyCar works with the whole battery. Like half the electrical unit is a battery and half of it is gas, and you have to recharge the battery. It's a whole thing. But yeah, so we had a couple cars in Australia who didn't start, and then a lot of them who didn't finish. And then in China, we had four cars not start, and then three cars DNF during the race. So like a fourth of the grid didn't even finish that race. So it is interesting. All I've got to say. I don't know how long it'll take till we get every single driver to start the race. But it doesn't look good. So
I just,
yeah. Also though, because Ken's is here, obviously. If you're a Ferrari fan, you are having the time of your life currently as well. So it's like kind of not as much as Ferrari, but like
Mercedes, you mean?
the,
You
I
did
said
this
they
the
get
other day too,
yeah,
yeah.
Mercedes. Um, yeah, the two of them are like somehow they figured it out.
But
Everybody else is not.
I know, but
Which
I
is
feel like there's gonna be too much like infighting. Like we're gonna have like papaya
oh
rules,
yeah.
but with Ferrari.
Well, I was so scared of that last race because so the biggest thing with these cars is that the overtaking is easier. So like there isn't just one straight of what we used to call DRS. Like you can overtake pretty much almost anywhere now because it makes it
Yeah.
easier. Um, so a lot of it has become like you'll get a new race leader almost immediately. At least these last two
Yeah.
have happened that way. But the battle is usually now it's like two or three or four or five.
But now they're
And
saying like we were talking about that. Like you're You were talking about like the energy and stuff. Like
Yes.
they keep referring to it as like yo-yo racing.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of like be okay with being in second come like
To
lap
come to go forward. Yeah.
like the last lap and then this way like you can like
It's
push into
crazy.
first, which like I don't love,
Yeah.
but whatever.
But yeah,
Also,
I did it'll be very interesting
yeah,
between the two of them if that's how it keeps going. It'll be very interesting thing. Also, um which there's other things to say, but we are down 2 races this season, so we've gone to
yeah,
24 to 22. And unlike the summer break, as far as I know, because they were canceled, the teams are able to work on their cars for the entire month of April. So there should
I
be better by the time they get to Miami. That's what
I
you would think.
saw people asking if the FIA will allow them to test their cars.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about that, but I know
Um,
like they can work on them,
so
which like would
we'll
be helpful. So, yeah, the only one we have Japan
I
next
will.
weekend and then nothing until Miami, which is crazy, but hopefully that gives them a little more time to at least figure out like,
I do have a question though, and maybe
yeah,
this is just me misreading the press statement. They said they wouldn't be making substitutions in the month of April. Does that mean that we can't get those two races back later in the season? I know that the scheduling
that's
would
what
make it
people have kind
nearly
of,
impossible,
yeah, I don't know because they said
but
like they wouldn't be doing another race or races somewhere else in April, but it does kind of seem like they're leaving the door open to be like if there's a time to squeeze them in later,
okay.
maybe, but they haven't, I guess it's why they worded it that way. But then I also don't know if that means they take away the summer break or shorten summer break if like that is resolved at that point to put them in there. I don't really know.
Well, I also
I-
the
Yeah,
I don't think the drivers have a CBA in the same way that like most sports we're used to do.
yeah,
So I'm not sure if like when you watch like hockey or like basketball or most of like the major sports, whatever, right? Like when you have an all-star break, that break is like written into the CBA.
yeah.
Like
They asked for it.
you have to have that time off. The practices cannot like you have a certain date of like you can't hold practice between these
Yeah,
times. And like teams get fined for doing that.
which is crazy.
Um,
Yeah, the
so I
worst
just
thing
kind of
about
was wondering like if the FIA was like, we're gonna put a race in the middle of summer break, if the drivers'
yeah, they say
contracts
like
like
no.
allow for that.
I wish I knew. The contracts in this sport are like the most, they don't tell you anything
No.
ever. And like they obviously get paid a lot of money, but I wish I knew like last year Oscar had signed a multi-year extension and I was like, cool. But like
Yeah.
in my head, 'cause I'm so used to hockey, I'm like, how many years? How much money? Like what is
What does it
involved? This they
mean?
don't tell you anything. They just like, yeah, they signed with this team. That's it.
You get the years
Yeah,
sometimes,
they
but
don't and like sometimes you'll see a post where like they'll tell you how much like each driver gets paid, but like I don't even know how accurate those things are. So yeah, I don't even the contract stuff in this sport is super under wraps. So I wish I knew the answer to that, but
I do have a
yeah,
question for you.
okay.
So Bree
Like
made
nervous.
this lovely
Oh,
bingo card,
that's already almost done.
but I have a question. You put
Are you gonna put
four
DNF? Well, yeah.
you put four plus DNFs in one race, right?
Hmm.
And you posted and you said, we made this too easy because we already have three completed. And I responded to that post, which my bad. I should have done
The
it
way I
on
didn't
like,
even see it.
no, because I should have done it on my account, not on the podcast account. So that's my bad. And I said, okay, but there were only three DNFs and
Yeah.
multiple DNSs.
So I'm
Does
separating
that
them.
count? Okay. So
Yeah.
we
So
don't
I
have four plus DNFs in
yeah,
one
I
race.
didn't think
Okay.
about this because I also didn't realize how bad these cars would be. So I was thinking like a 4 plus DNF, like I don't know, kind of what we had a race not too long ago where it was like it was just bad and like everybody was there's a lot of cars were out. Um, but yeah, I'm not counting the not starts. I'm counting like literally did not finish. And the same thing happened in Australia. I think it was like 3 didn't. I don't know if it was 4 that didn't finish. I have to go back, but Yeah, I'm not counting like all together, like legitimately. Sorry, you started the race, did not finish the race. But
Okay.
I just did not account for the fact
Because
that so many people would not be starting the races that I should have put a thing on there for that, but
one, two.
I don't know
Yeah,
if it
there were
happened.
only three DNFs and then there were four DNSs for that one. So we
Yeah,
don't have that one yet.
yeah.
I just wanted to
So that's
clarify
why,
because I thought it was a funny,
yeah,
like, also for anyone who doesn't know, like, there's a difference between like did nots. I'm so
yes.
sorry. So we've discussed this. I'm like a Piastri Leclerc person. So part of me is like so happy right
Yeah,
now because I'm like, wow, Leclerc is like not in like a tractor right now. He's
yeah.
not in that rocket ship that Mercedes has, but it's better.
I need to know what Mercedes did.
I I
Like,
don't know.
I have so many questions. Like,
I'm also wondering how
lots of
long until
questions.
one of the other teams is like
Yeah, but
investigate
oh,
them.
they're already doing it
I know.
because they like so again, this is also silly. You think each team has like their own like power unit and engine they make it.
No.
A lot of them supply the like resources for other teams. So Mercedes is like the engine I think like six teams have on the grid.
Yeah.
And the only car that's working is Mercedes' car. Everybody else that has their engine is like not doing well. So I think a lot of them are like, why
The
is ours
fuck,
not
Toto?
working and yours is
Yeah.
working? What the heck is that? So I think there's been whispers of them being like, we should probably look into this. And I don't think it's actually fully happened yet, but yeah, that's
I
another
just
part of it.
and then you have like Piastri on the other side where it's like
The fact he hasn't raced a single lap this year is legitimately, I was like, we need to reset. These two races need to happen. Please restart. Like,
and like I feel bad like I feel so bad because it's like all right, so your car is fucked for the first two races. And I
yeah.
feel bad for like Lando and the people who had to DNS the last two as well. Is like and I'm not saying we should be having these races. I'm saying it sucks
Oh,
that there are two races gone already that you couldn't race in, and now you're losing two chances to gain points.
yeah.
So now Oscar only has 20 races to
Yeah.
to go anywhere.
Yeah,
And
I
it
know.
it feels like McLaren completely shot themselves in the foot with that. And then the fact that like Max is also already having like a
I,
not great, and I'm like,
so bad.
oh my God.
I saw a graphic the other day that the top three that were fighting for the championship last year have less points than Ollie Behrman already. And I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
love Ollie, but what the heck is going on? Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. But
But like at the same time, like I'm so happy for Kimmy too. Like
yeah,
I was on the phone when Quali happened, and I was like,
as you should.
and the person I was on the phone with was like, who the fuck died? Like he thought I was like losing it.
No,
And I was like, no, no, no,
no.
this is like a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very I feel like it'll be more I don't know if we'll have a legit like this is okay. My comparison this and it's gonna sound really funny because I make fun of my brother for this all the time. You know how like when we had the shortened NHL seasons and we still obviously awarded the cup that
Yeah.
year, but they were shortened seasons. This season in F1 feels like whoever wins the championship, it's like, okay, you won it because like nobody else has a car.
I know, but then I feel so
That's
bad
gonna,
because if it
I
is
know.
Kimmy, I'm going to first off, like
No, I feel like
if Kimmy wins, that's such a huge thing.
it'd be
Also, he's the
crazy.
first Italian winner in his lifetime,
Yeah, and I thought the funniest thing ever was
which is
20 years.
crazy.
It happened right before he was like born.
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane.
But that's literally crazy.
Yeah.
And then someone in the comments was like, imagine him racing for Ferrari and winning at Monza, and I was like, I can't even.
Oh, that would be
That'd be
insane.
so good.
That would be crazy.
Um, but I just like
Put it in the future.
if any of like the experienced quote unquote people win, that's one thing to be like, like the season doesn't count.
Yeah.
But especially if
But if
like
it's
if
like one of
Kimmy
the
gets it, I'm gonna
younger
be
ones,
like,
yeah. I know.
Well,
It's
because
just
like even if like Leclerc wins it, but then like okay, like if Hamilton wins it, it's gonna be like a whole fucking
yeah.
he didn't actually win it,
I
and
know.
then like
That's what I mean. It just doesn't feel like, and of course this has happened before where they like have new regulations and then figure all of it out.
yeah.
But like it's not looking great, and we're only two races in. But
Well, also with the rise of like
we'll see.
social media's involvement in F1 and how much the sport has become, um,
Popular is that the word you're looking for?
I was gonna say more accessible, but that doesn't feel like the right word, but like
I know what you
it
mean.
kind of
Visible.
is more visible, yeah.
Yeah. Like more people are aware
Um,
of it now.
and like more people are talking about it on social media, whereas like last time there was a massive regulation change, you didn't
It
have
was
that.
forever ago. Yeah, like social media wasn't even like a
So I feel like it's
huge
going to be
thing.
so much more pervasive of like people having very strong and possibly very
Opinions.
incorrect opinions.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll
Yay.
see. Yeah, so Japan next weekend. I think that's like it for a month, but we'll get there.
Yay.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Um,
Yeah.
moving on to the hockey thing, but staying in the line of like regulations,
Where are you going with this?
player safety.
Oh, yes.
Um,
You mean like you just need a that's not even a regulation. We just need to like clear house and
but
you know,
it does have to do with like how it's regulated.
kind of,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's like yeah.
um, it has been a very frustrating. We've and we've been vocal about it
Yeah. For like since we've
forever.
been doing this, yeah. Like
But like this last week especially has felt very confusing, even like even if you take the injuries out of it. Like there was a goal that the Boston Fleet scored where Megan Keller was literally like sitting on the goalie's like arm and like
yeah.
had her
There
hand
was
on her
one
head.
the other day, Sarah Nurse had the same thing where like her stick, she had a stick kind of come up and hit her or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or was her stick something like that? It was the refereeing and or injuries that become of that has not been very consistent or good
No.
as of the
And
last week,
I feel like we have
especially.
different problems in each league
Yeah.
because the NHL, you have the problem where I feel like they're not doing anything when it comes to like how do you say his last name? Chernyshov?
Yeah.
Chernyshov got hit in the Habs Sharks game the other day and it was bad. And if you know anything about concussions, that kid shouldn't have been allowed to move on his own for a minute.
Yeah.
Because he got hit, immediately got back up and looked like a baby fucking deer, and then fell back
And he was
down,
bleeding
tried
from
to
his
get
head.
back up,
Yeah.
went back down, tried to get back up, and then got up with the help of like with assistance and then went off
Yeah.
the ice, but didn't go to the locker room. He went to like right like the little behind area where the benches are, just because of like how that stadium is
The
set
where
up.
it's set up.
Um,
He did go to the hospital
he went to the hospital and
and
then he
came back,
rejoined the team,
but he didn't play yesterday because he
which
has a concussion.
thank God.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but
Also though,
like
I think this is a lesson, and this is like a whole other conversation that I feel like would require us to like legitimately sit down with it, but the whole idea of like being injured that badly and the fact that he knew he had to like his instinct was to get up immediately to keep playing, opposed to just being like, "Hey, I'm not.
so
This is not normal. Like I don't feel good." You know what I mean?
I do think that is part of the concussion like neurological damage issue
Yes.
though is like um there was a lot of discourse around like that can happen when you have a really severe brain injury. Like your brain's like, I'm fine. And then the fact that
Yeah.
he went to go get up and then fell and like kept trying to get
Yeah.
up could be a sign of like a certain type of
That
concussion. I don't have a degree in brain
we're not
science. I have a degree
yeah,
in psychology, but not the
we're not
concussion.
medical professionals.
No.
It just
Um,
looked horrific. Like
it
every time
was
I saw it
rough.
happen live, and then I saw the clips on Twitter, and I was like, I don't like seeing injuries that like of any kind that are like beyond. bad, but especially the head injuries, and that one was like just seeing him struggle to get up
But
was
I
enough
have
for
to
me to be like,
say okay, and I don't want to sound like one of the toxic men that's on Twitter. The hit didn't look that bad.
no. No, I'm not saying the hit itself, like the
No,
way
but
what
there were
worked to
people
me was
who,
the way he got up.
yes, but I'm saying
Like
like
that was uncomfortable because it didn't look good. No, the
the
hit was
ref
it didn't even
definitely
look.
missed the fact that there was
Yes,
head contact.
of
However,
course.
from the from the angle the ref was at, definitely should have seen the head contact. From the angle the TV show,
The
the TV
camera.
cameras at,
Yeah.
didn't look that bad.
No.
Um, but obviously a bad injury.
Also, can I
But
pause
nothing's
for a
gonna come
second?
from that.
I'm sorry. I also think like this is probably this is not something that I see a lot, but I feel like that what you just said, the toxic men that are on the internet. Um, I don't care how a player is injured. I am like more concerned for their safety than like if it doesn't. I don't know how to describe this. Like if it doesn't look like a bad hit or if it's a clean hit, I don't care. Like if someone's severely injured because of whatever happened, that's a bigger problem than deciding if it's a clean or dirty hit. You know what I mean?
There is
I don't know how to
definitely
describe what I'm trying to say, but
hockey is inherently, and any contact sport is inherently
yeah,
very dangerous. Hockey players, however, who are moving at 20 plus miles an hour,
with
um,
literal blades on their feet
yeah,
and a
which
rubber puck that is gonna hurt
you know when you take
coming
driver's
at
ed
you.
and they explain to you that like when you're going 60 miles an hour and the car coming towards you
Oh,
going
the
60 miles
impact.
an hour, the
Yeah.
impact is like 120.
Yep.
So when you are a singular person with relatively limited body protection on
Yeah.
and you get hit at the equivalent of 40 miles an hour,
It's gonna hurt.
it
It's
hurts.
gonna hurt.
And if it's even just slightly in the wrong place,
Yeah.
even if it looks like a clean hit, all it takes is one little
Doop.
unexposed piece, one little clip to your neck or your head,
Also, again, like,
and
this is a
you're
reminder
done.
that like these people are like legitimate humans, and like it's amazing that some of them have played hockey for a really long time, and some of them are like young, but like it does not. They don't have like they're not robots. Like they have the
Yeah.
same body parts and like longevity as you as a regular human being. So like sure they're probably built for it better than like a regular human, but like they are still gonna get injured.
Yeah.
It's part of how it happens. I'm just always like I'm more concerned for like the literal health, especially in that situation. I was like, I don't care how it happened or what, but like you I think you said it to me. Like that's anything head related is like borderline career ending, or it could be.
Because
And the it's like the fear of
all I
knowing.
could think of seeing him get up, and then especially once I heard that he rejoined the team, all I could think about was that kid from the Flyers,
Oh, Nolan
Nolan
Patrick.
Patrick. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was referencing when you said I was like, oh, we've
Which
seen it
like
happen before.
I don't love him, but I
No, but
feel
that's a
horrible
clear
for him
case
as a
of being
person.
like you got it's like the reoccurring head injuries to the point where like you didn't even get a full career because of it.
But
But yes,
this is the difficult thing with
it's a
sports is, and I say this at like a very minor level. Like I severely injured my leg the last time I was dancing. I
not
basically
good.
had such bad shin splints, which are
Oh,
effectively micro tears, by the way.
I hate those.
If you're really squeamish, just skip 30 seconds. Um, my PT basically was like, if you keep dancing, your muscle and your bone are going to completely tear off of each other because of like the level
Ow.
of stress I was putting on my body and like the way that I injured it. Anyways, everything's fine. But like there was a choice of like, do you
Yeah,
want to be able to walk normally for the rest of your life or
or
do
do
you want
something.
to
Yeah.
do this competition thing? And obviously, again, very different levels of that thing. And if I went back to dancing now and did it in a healthier way, I could absolutely do that. But the way that I went back was not great.
Yes.
Um, when you have, especially with a head injury, like you could like break your leg and still have a good quality of life, right? Like there's like the Paralympians, look at all of them. Like
Yeah, you can
that
come
you
back
can
from that.
have a good quality of life without a limb. When you have repeated head injuries, that is when like genuinely like will you ever be able to, and this is gonna
Yep.
sound so like heteronormative of me, but like will you be able to sustain a relationship with someone? Can you have kids? Can you physically and mentally take care of those children? Can you hold a conversation with people in your life? Can you make decisions for yourself? Do you have to
Yeah.
have a power of attorney signed? And like, I know I'm going very extreme, but that's such
No,
a
but
risk when it comes to like traumatic brain injuries.
yeah, and I think the one that comes up all the time, especially at work, which I also feel really, really bad about, but Filipino,
Yeah.
who like genuinely has played maybe 3 games since he's got to Vancouver because of all the head injuries. It's but I also feel like when people are like, "Oh, he should probably," like just saying like, "Oh, you should retire because it's like obviously the track record is not good." Like I can't imagine having to make that decision when like this sport is your entire livelihood
I know,
and
but you
like you've
have to
worked
think
that hard.
about
You know, you have to like that's
the
where you have to
next
think like
40
the
years of your
yes.
life.
Yes. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't take into account, but like at some point you have to be like, this is just a sport. I can't do this forever. And like I do have a life after it that should,
Yeah.
like you have to also consider. Um, but yeah, that still like makes me feel like, ooh, because I remember thinking I watched it because it was not a good video to watch.
But all that to
But
say is that injuries and proper education would help. Like the NHL having, say, like a 10 game minimum for a hit to the head. Even if it's so, like, even if it's
true.
not called on the ice, of like the
Yeah, access
league can
this
go back
rule.
in and be like, okay, this what didn't get called on the ice. We're gonna fine the referees who didn't call it because that's a problem.
Hmm.
And then we're gonna assess a 10 game minimum because it's contact to the head. And then like when a head injury occurs on the ice, there needs to be someone who's like better trained in concussion spotting
Yeah.
and other neurological issue
Or
spotting.
yeah, that
Because
should
like
have
I
been
don't
like
think Chernyshov should have been able to get up by himself. I
no,
think that he
but
should have been taken out on a stretcher.
I also do think though that like the ref didn't whistle quick enough for him to just lay there. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
would have been in the middle of the play because they didn't whistle it. So like that was also the fault of the ref to not like he got hit, he was down, whistle like call the play dead. So like he's not in danger of being in the middle of the
That's
play
that
as it's
happens
happening.
so often when someone
But
gets
that's part of
hit.
the issue. Like he had like if he didn't get up, he also would have been in the stuck in the middle of like everybody around him while he's injured. So like even if the concussion spotter or whoever was trying to get to him, like they didn't whistle the play dead quick enough
Yeah.
for anybody to be like, "Don't get up, stay there." And that's why I think he also attempted to get up because it was still moving. So like that's another yeah, that's something that I feel like that's the most common where we see someone get injured and they just like leave them and they're like, "Oh, play's still going." And I'm like, oh, "Why are you not
Well, it's that thing that we
blow
talk
the
about like
whistle?"
with goalies where it's like if there's like a quote unquote immediate scoring chance,
Yeah,
like the play doesn't get blown dead. And it's like getting a
I just don't
rubber
care.
pellet shot at your head at
Yeah.
100 miles an hour
Hmm.
with no
With no
protection should
helmet.
be the concern, not scoring a goal. Because if you don't have these
I
players, you're not
can't.
gonna have a league.
Yeah. Also,
But
like,
so
it's your, like, yes, the players know there's a risk when they're playing, but, like, everybody, like, the refs have a responsibility to also keep them safe and, like, you know what I mean? Like, they have things they're supposed to do in order to make it less dangerous or not as
yeah.
terrifying. Like, that's your job. You're supposed to do that. What do I know? What do I know?
And then
But
a similar concept with like so obviously what happened at the Habs game was unintentional. Like that
yes.
there was no intent to give Chernyshov some
And
kind of like
if you're listening
TBI.
and you haven't seen it or have seen it, he is okay. Again, he went to the hospital, got extra tests that night. came back to the team. He went with them to Ottawa yesterday. He didn't play, but he's out with a concussion, so he's fine, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
Um, but like nothing seriously occurred, I
Yeah.
guess. He's okay.
My concern is for
Most
future
important.
games for him.
Yes,
And
but like right now he's not playing. He's got a concussion, so he's fine as he can be after that.
um so then the concern comes with intentional injuries. And that's like the Radko Gudis of it
Yeah.
all. And I'm saying this with like light and love in my heart. Um,
Light and love.
there are some people in this league who, whenever they are at the scene of the crime, it looks like a felony.
Oh my God.
It's like, it genuinely is like you
Come
look
here.
like you are intentionally trying to kill everyone in your vicinity. Hi, baby. Hi. You're so
Looking at the
chunky.
Okay, goodbye.
Hi.
He came down and said hi, and he didn't want to get picked up, but I figured he had to make a little cameo. Anyway,
Yeah.
yes, the
So,
like doing something but don't not what trying to be not guilty about it.
but I just, there's a certain point where how many times can you intentionally injure someone before the league is like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're done. Because again,
Also,
if you don't have players, you don't have a
yeah,
league.
this is also a good um like the way a reoccurring offender, I guess is what they call it, like when
Yeah.
you how they determine what your games are because you've been suspended before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about the Gudis of like that he had been suspended 3 times and he's had a 10-game suspension. Not it was a couple seasons ago, but like this one only being 5, I think also showed like to have 4 suspensions in your career in under 10 years is a decent number.
Also, for one of the most intentional kneeings
Yeah.
I have ever seen
So like 5 games doesn't feel like it's
that
enough.
is taking someone out for the rest of the
Also,
season,
like I had said it at work when it happened too, like it was almost genuinely not well, I got cat hair all over me now. It was a very similar, not as obvious move against Sid, um, in the Olympics. The whole situation, although it was a little, it wasn't as intentional. It didn't look as bad, but like now you have 2 players that should be playing or whatever because you know what I mean. It's frustrating, but
so I have two issues with this.
go.
One is I think that the league is um the word I want to say is not the word I actually want to say online.
Okay.
Um
So there's another word for it, or you just don't want to say it. That's fine. I don't care.
the league I feel like is prioritizing their comfort
Ooh,
over suspensions, meaning that when you get a phone call hearing, you can only
mm-hmm.
get 5 games.
Confirmed.
And I feel like the league is prioritizing their own comfort in the sense of putting together an in-person hearing is like a lot of work and da 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 da. So like, oh, we'll just
Mm-hmm.
do a phone hearing, so it'll just be 5 games.
Oh my God,
Um,
wait. So this is kind of like unrelated but related. Did you think Malkin's suspension should have been more than that?
yes,
Because he also only got 5. I thought that one should have
yes.
been more than 5. Okay.
Malkin, if
That one
you're
was
unaware of that one, he literally
crazy.
took his stick to, was it was Darlene, right?
Darlene.
Took
Yeah,
his
and
stick to
like
his neck
and then like
multiple times.
it looked like he was trying to take his head off with the
Yeah.
stick. And he
So,
got 5 games for that.
no, I
So
thought that should have been 10.
I also thought that okay. That's why
Um,
I was like, I feel like that also wraps into this conversation where it was a suspension, but also not enough
and
at the same time.
whereas Malkin's, I think, should have been 10.
That
I
is so. I just remember watching that and I was like, that's like a crazy thing to try and
I think
attempt to do.
I think Gudis's 5 is too little, but I also think that anything more than 5 would have felt very harsh.
It could have been a
However,
7.
7 felt might feel okay.
You don't have to do like the even numbers. They can give
No,
out
I,
any
I
amount they
know.
want.
But I think
Like,
the thing with Gudis for me is that, like, whereas Malkin's felt like a fit of passion,
yes. Like in the game, sort of
Gudis's,
the
listen,
emotions.
I could not tell you why Malkin was like, let me kill this person real quick. Um,
So let me try one thing.
like, but whereas like Gudis's literally felt like, let me take out Matthews for the season.
Right, yeah.
Um, and that's the other thing is Darlene's fine.
Yeah, he didn't miss any time for that. He
Matthews is out with a grade 3 MCL tear for the season.
and quad contusion, whatever that is.
So,
I don't really know, but
like we've also discussed, like, should the players have to sit for the amount of time that the injury, but then like you have to get into like whether or not there was intent to injure versus like was it an
yeah.
accident? But like with the Gudis one, I'm like it just felt so intentional, and he's definitely a repeat offender.
Hmm.
But so like my issue is, can we just change it to where you can get more games on a phone call? Because obviously the league doesn't want to be doing in-person hearings right now, even when it seems like it would be necessary.
Yeah. I just
Which like I have no problem with
there needs to be
that.
so many. Yeah, me either. I just think there's so many things that are, I don't say quote unquote wrong with player safety and how they handle like everything.
I don't think anyone on player safety
But
should be allowed to be related to anyone who plays in the league, by the way,
yeah,
or
yeah,
owns the league or does anything in the league. You should
yeah.
be like a completely neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like you know how like when you apply for jobs and they're like, "Are you related to anyone who works at this company?"
Yeah, that's what we need you
Um,
to do for
we need that for the for DPS
I
because
guess again because like I know there's and I'm sure obviously there's like the politics of it all when you're like working at something that high up in the league. But like when it's something that's legitimately dealing with the safety and the health of your players, like that are making you money, which if that's what it has to come down to, like that should be your highest. Maybe I just care too much. Like I feel like you should just care about the well-being of people and like
no,
if
I
they were
fully
injured and
think.
however they got injured, like that should be something that you hold on. I have to free Morty. He's,
Bye, Morty. I love you.
he's like I have like these little lanyards on my door. Do you hear that?
Yes,
That's him.
I love that for him. He sounds like he's having so much fun. I don't know how it would work because obviously you need people who are very well educated in the rule book, and the
Yeah.
proceedings of the NHL. But I think that the Department of Player Safety should be comprised of like a third party group of people. Um,
Yeah,
Kind of like an outside auditing thing.
that makes sense.
Um I think that referees should be fined often if they miss egregious calls.
Yeah.
Like there has
That's
to be
not bad.
some kind of consequence, because you just genuinely cannot have players that just like,
They're constantly getting injured like that
yeah.
based off of, yeah, non-calls 95% of the time.
And I genuinely think that like I don't know, I don't see the point of having an in-person hearing.
I think you could do them all in today's day and age.
Yeah.
You could do them all over the phone or virtually
If we can
and
do
still
court
give
over
exactly
Zoom, you
and
can do,
still give the
yeah,
same, I don't want to say punishment, if that's what we want to say. You could
consequence,
do
yeah.
all of that virtually.
No, absolutely. Like that's one of those like
There's no one saying you can't.
because and
Also,
like
during COVID, that's what you did, so you know it's possible.
I
You
haven't
did
seen
it
a
already.
good argument as to
Why?
why
Yeah.
you can only give five game
That's a good
hearings,
question. I
five
have to
game.
like look into that. I wonder if it's like actually in
Like literally the
the
only
rule
way
book
I
or
can
not.
see that, no, even if it's in the rule book, the only way I can see that being
Legit.
a
Or like the
legitimate
reason.
issue that can't be fixed is if it's like in the CBA. Um,
Oh, true. Yeah, but still like that still seems like a weird thing to.
In which case, I feel like a lot of the players are frustrated with the process. Like even McDavid
Yeah.
said something. So like I think that
Yes. Props to him.
he was in my dream last night.
Do I want to know why?
Yeah, no, it was I saw
That's
a
the most random like situation.
my TikTok last night was very filled with like videos of
How hasn't won anything.
yeah. Um and then I was having like a very existential night and I think he was like my therapist or like life coach or something.
You know what? I feel like he would be good at that.
We were going on a run and like chatting, but it didn't seem like we were friends. It seemed like I was paying him
Like
to go on
it was
this
like a
run.
professional.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I think he was like my life coach or
I
something.
still feel like he would. Yeah, that's too good.
So like
That's so
it
funny.
wasn't a weird dream. It was like a very normal, but it was
I know,
like
but like even in the
odd for
sense of like
McDavid.
the fact
Also,
that a life coach is still him
no,
is
but
so funny.
I need to be very clear that it was like full playoff beard McDavid. Like it was very much influenced by the TikToks I was watching.
That makes it even better.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
so
I'm crying. That's my favorite thing.
I'm glad someone said something,
Yes. Also, I think
but
I know we talk a lot, or I've seen a lot of arguments where it's a lot of people who quote unquote they say it doesn't really matter. But when it's the face of the league and if you want to say the best play, whatever, like it's McDavid, you kind of can't ignore that. Also, like
but it's also like
you
this
shouldn't
is one
have
of
to
those
have
things
you
where
shouldn't have to have a voice of like him, like someone as big and notable as him to get the attention on it.
yeah.
But it is good that like if that's the only way it's going to be brought to the attention, that he is saying something about it.
That is why I
But
hesitated though to make a point that like it's Matthews and that it's Crosby
yeah,
because it shouldn't matter
no,
if you are a fourth liner who just got called up from the AHL for one game and you're never going to play in the NHL
no,
again. Like,
I agree.
or if you're literally Sidney Crosby, you should get equal treatment
Yes.
if you get injured.
Hmm.
It should not matter who you are. Um,
You're right.
because that's another thing too, is it's like sometimes it feels like depending on who does the injuring or who is injured, the consequences also change.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's just I feel like the last few days or the last week it's been really like rough.
Prevalent.
Yeah. Like there's one a day at least,
Yeah.
which is not normal.
Um,
But
Also in the NHL in like more fun, positive news, if you guys haven't seen Ryan Efko's goal, I need everyone to go watch it. Um,
there was some crazy on top of everybody being injured. There were some crazy goals in general. Like roll the
so
highlight reel.
the Ryan Efko one is just fun because
Yeah, it was
obviously
also
he's
insane though.
a Long Island kid. I know him. We like grew up in the same area. Um, so like all props to him. It was a nasty fucking goal. That
Yeah.
Eklund goal for the Sharks game was
Yeah, that one
absolutely
was
fucking insane.
insane.
They're all posted on our threads.
Crazy.
So if you guys are interested, you can go look for them. They're also like on the NHL's Instagram.
Yeah.
But they were literally super insane
Yeah.
goals. We also are devastatingly so because BU had a season-ending game the
Oh,
other day. So
so
we are having the end of the NCAA season come, which the fact that BU is done is
yeah.
gut-wrenching. But so we will be seeing Cole Hudson join the league. He's just signed a
Woo!
3-year contract with the Washington
The
Capitals
Caps.
and announced this morning, Sasha Bozvert is signed with the Chicago Blackhawks. We are waiting, although I don't think it'll happen, to see if Cole Iserman is getting signed to the Islanders. Um,
I wanted to make sure I was gonna say that I remember I wanted to make sure that like there's four Hudson brothers, not three. So I was like, oh my God, now all three of them, but there's not all of them. Well, there's like most of them now in the league, but they don't all play in the league at the same time. So, but three of the four,
yeah.
which is still crazy enough. But
Um, I don't think Cole is going to the Islanders. I don't know that he was injured for a while. Um,
not good.
so I think that he needs some time to like come back from the injury. Also, it'd be nice to see him get to be captain for BU, and do that
Oh,
whole thing. I'm going to miss
true.
the Cole and Cole coffee reviews though. Those were delightful.
Yeah,
I hope they do that when they like meet up in the same places. Um, but yeah, so we have NCAA signing season starting soon.
I literally like
So yeah.
it's crazy. We're already there.
Yeah.
What the heck? Like I was,
I was like, oh wait, next it's
yeah,
the regular season's over.
yeah. I was. We were. I was like reading something or doing something, and it was like 17 games remaining, and I was like, huh? Are you sure? Like, are we? But it is mid-March, which is
Yeah.
terrifying. But yeah.
And then moving to the P-Dub, which has its own problems. And good news.
Did you want to touch on women's Frozen Four
Yeah, we'll get there in a
in her
second.
minute? Okay, I don't know in what order you're,
In good
but
news for women's hockey,
whoop whoop.
they sold out TD Garden and Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden will
Yeah.
set the US attendance record for the PWHL, which is super exciting.
What is the Canadian? It's
19
Bell Center,
something.
right?
Um,
Would this not also set the overall, or am I just going insane?
no.
It's close though.
PW, sorry. MSG is going to be 18.6, 18,006, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And
Never
then
mind. Why am I thinking like 20,000?
no.
I'm losing my mind. Okay.
And then Canada's is somewhere in the 19s. Um,
I thought it was Bell Center, and that was like 21,000. But again, am I like losing my mind?
it's like not coming up, which is really
Yeah, I
annoying.
know. I'm getting Seattle.
Yeah.
And I want Seattle. I'm so sorry to you guys, but I want
Like I want the
I
Canadian
know
one.
you've played at Bell Center.
21,105 Bell
Okay.
Center, April 2024.
Yes. All right. So I was all right.
Yeah.
I just know that's all right. Okay.
So,
Never mind.
who's US attendance
It'll be
record?
a new US one. Yeah.
But still absolutely insane that they are selling out both of the gardens that are so like, and I saw some
Widely
people on
known.
Twitter who were like, big fucking deal. They sold out the garden. The Rangers do it all the time. And it was like,
Actually, they don't.
one, they definitely don't. And two,
Not this
um,
season.
you never make fun of a new artist for being like, oh my God, I get to play MSG.
hmm
Like, the garden is quite literally one of the biggest accomplishments. Like, and people who come into the NHL say that they're like, once you play at the garden, it feels like you're really like in the league, which is
Also,
like, it's a big thing.
yeah, but like they do a million other events there, and like you don't ever say like, "Oh my God, such a big deal!" Like this basketball game sold out, whatever. Like
Yeah.
it is a big deal.
It's a very
Sorry,
big deal, especially
it's
for
huge.
the Sirens who have been picked on for their attendance.
Yeah,
Which also, God, that Brie and I we were chatting about this. We were at the Ottawa game on the Sunday, um,
yeah.
and we were like overwhelmed
The
by
ninth,
8,000 people, and I don't even know what we're gonna
eighth.
do
Yeah,
for MSG.
the
It's gonna
K,
be tears the
the
whole time.
K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, the women's Frozen 4 is this weekend. I am mad. Like, okay, I knew that Quinnipiac and Yale weren't gonna win. I didn't think Quinnipiac was
I
gonna get blanked.
no, that is crazy.
Um, but
But I'm also not surprised by who made it. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
I was like, okay, the usual suspects. We know what's going on.
But it's gonna be Wisconsin versus Penn State and then Ohio State versus Northeastern. And let me just say that I understand that Wisconsin is
They're like back to back defending champ.
favorite.
Have they won two in a row or is it just one?
I think
I know they won last year,
I think they're two.
but I feel like they've won two in a row.
It's been it was like Wisconsin, Ohio, Wisconsin, Wisconsin, I
Yeah,
think.
and it's like they flip a lot, but they're the defending champs
So
either way because they won last year.
I
So,
know that they're the favorite, and I know that everyone really wants to see KK and Layla win. However, the Frozen Four is happening at Penn
yeah,
State.
in Penn State.
So that would be fucking insane. Like I
Mm,
can't even express to you how in like fucking lit that building would be
yeah, that
if
would
they
be
win.
crazy.
Um, because if you know Penn State, you know that they go hard for their sports.
Also, I feel like that'd be, I don't know if you can consider that an upset, but that would have to be an upset.
Technically, because
Because like if
Wisconsin's two and
Wisconsin's
Penn
your,
State's
yeah,
three.
and like if Wisconsin is your favorite or the favorite,
Yeah.
I feel like
Well, I guess
taking
technically
them down would
Ohio is
still
the
be,
favorite, but like they're the defending. So yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I still feel like it'd be an upset
Yeah.
because they wouldn't be playing to win it, but
Just
it'll be fun.
crazy.
Yeah.
But then, so yeah, the PW has their own reffing issues. And like, yeah, there have been a lot of injuries, but
So
one of the things that I think is particularly frustrating, we talked about this, is that there's no more coaches challenge in the PW.
at all, genuinely
Um,
at all. And then if you're like we've had several games this season where there will be a review of some kind, and the review takes, I'm not even kidding, 15 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. We will be
no,
sitting there for 10 to 15 minutes for the refs and the situation room to tell us what's happening, if they tell us, but it takes them that long to review it. And the coaches can't have any say in asking to anything to be challenged. It's like league uh mandated, I
yeah.
guess, like the league says, but it takes 10, like there is no reason for a review to take 15 minutes. I'm sorry. We need to cut it down a little bit.
But then like again, like you have that goal in Boston that was scored where it was like,
We
Corey
just
should have
sit
been
on
able
you.
to challenge that.
Yes.
And
I
if
would
I
love
was
to
Corey, I
know.
would have been like
I would love to know why. I don't think they gave us a solid reason why they got rid of the coaches challenge, did they?
efficiency and
That's what they said. I don't remember. Can't
I
remember what it
feel
was, but
like
this is not efficient. It takes longer,
efficiency and
like to streamline it, right? They
I
said.
think more like consistency, which it's feeling horribly inconsistent. And then even
That is
like
not what's happening.
we had a questionable call in the Ottawa New York game, and Carla was like, "Yep, this is the
Yeah.
system. This is what we have to do." And it you can like I'm just looking at her going, "I love your
There
little
have been,
media trained answer." However, I can
yeah,
see how angry you are.
there have been several times when I've sat in the pressers at Sirens games where, um, like Fargo, the Sirens head coach, and we had one when Boston came in. Like every head coach has been like, "Yeah, I didn't get an explanation on that. Don't know why it happened. I can't say anything about it. Whatever." And like
Yeah.
I don't know if like they are getting explanations after like later on. But there does seem to be like some sense of frustration that these calls are happening or non-calls are happening, and like as a coach they have like legitimately no way to figure out why it's happening, and if that influences the game,
Yeah.
you genuinely can't do anything about it, which is a whole other problem. But they all have seemed to be like yeah, that's how it is, but not in like a nice way. Like they're just like, what else am I supposed to do? Because there is no other option.
They're like, this is what I have
So,
to say.
yeah, like,
It's like gun to your head. Like, what do you feel
yeah,
about the coach's challenge? And they're like, I
exactly.
think it's great.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but like the injuries have also just been kind of, but then so the, okay, you have the other
What?
issue with the P-dub where people online are like, that wasn't even a hit. Why are you guys
Yes,
offended? And it's like for the
it
same
is though.
reason why the women wear bubbles in cages is because like there's a
The
little bit more of an emphasis on player
Can
safety.
I tell you that I don't know if you saw this on your side of Twitter, but Charlie
We're on the
McAvoy
same
lost.
side of Twitter.
Well, sometimes I feel like things don't pop up and then they do.
Yeah.
Um, but like Charlie McAvoy lost more teeth in the game the other
Yes.
day, and somebody discovered that in like it's a legit rule in the NHL rule book that you cannot wear a bubble or a cage unless you have like an injury, like your jaw's broken or your nose is broken or like whatever. Like there's a legit reason for you to wear a bubble.
Yep.
Um, and people were like, "You're telling me they can't just choose to wear a bubble if they want to?" And everybody was like amazed that the NHL is like, "Nope, you can't do that unless like you're injured." And then the PW, who they complain about wearing the bubbles and cages because they like choose to, I was like, "Yeah, like that's the which it is insane that you can't wear that protection in the NHL unless you have like a genuine reason, which seems stupid."
Well, someone was like, well, it's a
But
safety
also
issue for
then,
the other players who don't have a cage because if you get
yes,
hit with the cage in a face and it's like, how about we just all
how
wear
is
cages?
yes, but I'm saying like when people are complaining about that, and then like then you're gonna turn around and complain about how the women voluntarily wear the bubbles or cages because of safety reasons, and I'm like, you have to
I'll pick one.
pick a struggle because like they can't. That's the whole point. But anyway, yes. So, a fun
Like,
fact, if you didn't know that, they can't wear a bubble or a cage unless like they legit are injured. So,
I think it's hard for the P-dub because I desperately want them to be able to hit more
yeah,
and be more aggressive, but I do understand the side of things where it's like,
I do think it's gotten more aggressive over the years, though.
I know, but there are some hits where
It's
it's
still
like,
not
why
like
are we still calling those? Or
yes,
why are we suspending someone for these? But then you have the hits where it's like, okay, they should have gotten
but they
suspended
should
for
have.
that,
Yeah,
and they didn't. So then, like, okay, you have Bo Horvat getting fined for like flicking Victor Eklund in a game with the Islanders and
William,
Sharks. But then, huh?
William. You
William
said
Eklund.
Victor.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
talking. My brain said
that's that was
Islanders and went to the
yeah. No,
prospect. For anyone who doesn't know,
funny moment though. It was iconic.
the baby Eklund
Yeah.
is a Islanders prospect. Um, so like yeah, like that was like funny, whatever. He got fined for it. But then, fuck, who was it? There was, I want to say it was Daryl. I want to say it was Daryl Watts playing against Minnesota, and it wasn't the person that everyone wants Minnesota to get hit on.
Oh no,
Hit on
she did
Minnesota.
something yesterday the other day. So you know.
Daryl basically took her stick and just fucking like plays dead. They were both heading back to the
Oh,
bench
I've
and
seen,
like
yes,
cross-checked the shit out of the
yes,
Minnesota
yes, yes, yes,
player.
yes,
And I'm like, okay, so we'll fine Bo Horvath. I know that they're different leagues, but like
yes.
we're gonna fine Bo for being like basically doing like the equivalent of like something's on your shirt.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's like
And
a chirp,
then
but like in the like
yeah,
yeah,
versus like literally knocking a girl to the ground in the numbers after the play's dead for no
yeah,
reason. And
yeah.
Daryl's like, it's like, wait,
I
what?
didn't do that. Not
Like,
me.
and again, I think they're both kind of harmless. Like, obviously, like no one was hurt, and I think that we should be careful with the way that we do.
Yeah,
But like, I just the disparity between what I'm seeing versus like what I feel like the refs are seeing versus like what the league I feel like and it just on both sides and I'm like what is going
yeah.
on?
There's no consistent like view of
No.
it at all.
Because then also like I know like there's like oh like soft call but like a lot of the times when I'm watching the P-dub I'm like that's a really soft call I feel like. And then
But
there's
when
things
they
that
actually have to
happen
call
and I'm
something, they
like
don't do it.
Where
Yeah.
that's the most egregious penalty I've ever seen in my life, and you're like,
Yep.
this is fine.
Yeah. No. No big deal.
I don't get it.
The roughing has been a big like issue though this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if it somehow I don't know, like if they're aware of it or if it became a thing. But there's been some really bad like calls, non-calls in the P-dub, so
Yep.
we'll see how that transpires
I think I said this at the beginning of the season. I
because
don't see the no coaches challenge lasting past this
I think that's
season.
such a wild thing that they even like attempted to try out, but like for what?
Well, because also like there like we already had the issue of there was no coaches challenge for like offsides and overtime.
Yeah, which we had
Offside.
seen several times,
But like
but
I maybe understand having like a more limited like
I guess certain like you can
again in
use
the
it
name of
certain times.
efficiency, being able to use a coach's challenge for more egregious things like a goal
Yeah,
versus like a goaltender interference versus like offside. Um, which I still think is important, but obviously
yes.
like less so, I
If
think,
you have to
than
pick between two of them,
but also
that's
like
yeah.
there has to be some kind of limit on reviews because when you're
It's
taking a whole period and these players are now not
you're so out of the
skating, not
rhythm. Yeah,
moving, like the lactic acid is building up, they're
it's
not able to like
an issue.
because also like they're not really supposed to like get up and go skate
Yeah.
during these reviews.
Like I think every once in a while you'll see him come out and take a lap,
Yeah.
but like that's it.
Well, because
But
also
it
like
shouldn't take that long.
no.
It should not take that long. Like please.
It's
It's
so
too much.
fun.
Too much.
Um, but yeah, that's I feel like
The
those like
state of things.
the big things that have been happening is that just, like a
Yeah.
lot of ref issues since we got back from the break.
Yep.
I don't know. Um, are you reading anything new?
Um,
Oh, also
I'm
we have a fun episode for next week that's going to be book related. Um, so stay tuned. If you're here for more of the book stuff, that'll be fun.
um
I'm very excited for that one.
I'm reading three books. Two physical like two like
Okay.
every day and then my one in the car. Um I'm currently reading an arc called Over the Line. It's a hockey romance. I'm eating it up.
I love that.
It's very, very good. And then I'm reading
Oh,
the second.
it's official. Sorry. World Cup of Hockey will be in Calgary, Edmonton, and Prague in 2028.
Oh my God, that's
We
such
have
a
updates.
travel.
That's going to be a shit show.
That's a Calgary to Prague. Oh my
Prague.
God. Oh my God, that's a time. Um,
Yeah.
love that. That's 2028, everybody, in case you were wondering. Um, reading the second book of the other F1 romance series, Ride With Me is what it's called. They accidentally get married in Vegas, so I'm also enjoying that one. And I can't tell you what my audiobook is right now, but it's like a fun little audible. It's something to do with like she gets left at the altar
Like
and then
you
she has
don't
to
know the title of
yeah.
it? Oh, I was like, why
Um,
can't you tell
and then
us?
she goes to like Hawaii on like a journalism assignment and she ends up meeting her ex at
Second chance
the wedding.
romance.
Yeah, but she
Love
falls
it.
like she's like fake dating his brother because by accident. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
But a lot going on. So that's where I
Um,
am.
I am listening to Tuck Everlasting,
Ooh,
which is a kid's book, but I love that. I haven't read it since I
as
was
you should
9, and I was like,
listen. You should be able to read kids' books all the time.
yeah. So I'm listening to it, which
Whimsy.
is a very different.
I've never thought about that they have audiobooks for kids' books.
Yeah.
It's actually really that's probably so cute.
Um, I mean, Tuck Everlasting is like very menacing.
No,
When
but
you
I'm
read
thinking
it as
like
an adult.
yeah, but I'm thinking like the way they probably like read it. So like it's
No,
interesting for a
no,
kid.
it's
Really?
yeah, it's very much like a regular adult
Ah,
audiobook.
I think they're like making it so fun. Never mind.
I would say the voices are a little bit more extreme,
Okay.
for like the voice actor. I just started The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Is it good? I've heard mixed opinions, which is why I have
Um,
not read it yet.
I'm
But
having very strong opinions on like the whole concept of the book.
ooh, okay.
So it's about it's like basically like purgatory. Like in between life and death, there's a library and you basically get to like see every decision you could have changed in your life and how it would have worked out for you.
I think I would have had a mental breakdown if that happened to me.
And so my problem is that either you get to change your life and go back to that real life, but that doesn't feel fair because why can you just
Yeah,
change your life?
true. Why do
Or
you get a
you
second
can't
chance?
change your life and you have to go back to living, which would make me want to die even more.
Wait, they tell you what you didn't do right and then they send you
I
back?
don't know yet. I'm saying like these are
Oh,
like the three
I
options.
was like,
Or
that's horrible.
you just die,
Oh
which
my God.
also
Okay,
feels
so
crazy.
there's a lot of
So
things.
it's, I will say, I was well warned that it is a book that if you are experiencing some mental health struggles, maybe you shouldn't read it.
Okay, good
But
to know.
I
I didn't know
also
that
did
part.
see that it's a good book for if you're feeling very like stuck and stagnant in your life to be like, and like if you're scared to like
Okay,
kind of make a decision, it's a good book to be like.
interesting.
But where I ended the book is there's basically like this book of regrets that you get, and she was just listing all of her regrets in life, and I went, we're gonna turn this off for the night.
Yeah, that would send me into like
So,
a meltdown, but in a good way.
and then I'm also reading The Year of Magical Thinking, which is also
Ooh,
super fucking depressing.
oh my God, we need to get you some fun
So
books.
I need to pick a romance to read
I
because
I found out how to place holds at my library, mostly because I needed
yay.
to get my book club book.
Okay.
I just haven't gotten yet. But I was having like the best time ever just placing holds on every book possible. And there's a bunch of new books that came out that have been added to my TBR that I have to read. But I finally got my hands on Atmosphere by
I
Taylor Jenkins
I
Reid,
started it a while ago. Yeah.
and I'm very, very excited. So that's my next. When I finish what I'm reading now, that's what I'm reading next, and I'm very, very excited because I've heard only good things. And I honestly love everything she's written, or
Yeah.
so I'm pumped. But
Oh, I do have a weird piece of like I have two weird pieces of sports business news. The WNBA still has not signed a CBA agreement, although they have been in
yes,
this is day 7 now of like marathon long
that's so crazy.
sessions to try to figure it out. And they are quote unquote close to a deal. The other thing is the Sports Business Journal Awards nominees just came out.
Whoa.
And for anyone who is not aware of, there was some stuff going on with Waserman. If you don't know what it is, you can go look it up. Completely horrible trigger warning for that one. Um, but it has been renamed to The Team. That is the new name of the agency, in case anyone is seeing.
Oh, I have seen that. Why did I see that?
But if anyone's seeing that around, that is it is just it's
Yes.
Waserman, but it's just under a new name. Um, while I believe they're still looking at selling. Um, so yeah, just some like
We did
random
it.
other updates.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. We're going to do a in the spirit of March Madness, we're going to rank our favorite book boyfriends in a bracket format. And I will disclaimer it's going to be books that we have both read. So it might not
Yeah.
be inclusive of every single book we've read, but it's things that we can actually chit chat about. So that'll be next week. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Uh,
Yay.
but yeah, all right. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.